Okay, welcome to session 5 of my Pillars of Eternity Lorethrough. Last time we finished exploring Gilded Vale, met Ingrid and I think it was Nanton, who Ingrid was married to and someone who was in the bear cave. I can't remember the name of these people, sorry. She was married to somebody in the bear cave. We beat the bear and we found out that the person that Ingrid was with actually killed the guy, said he was friends but actually killed him, and we let them go because Ingrid said that he was a horrible husband. We rescued Tenfrith the cook from the bandit outlaws and brought him back to the Blackhound Inn, which Pasha was very happy for that because they had good food again. And we met Durrance, and that's the last thing we did. After we met Durrance, who is a priest of Magran who has become disillusioned with her of late, calls her the whore. We also read from the collector's guidebook on Magran, who is the goddess of fire, and Aethys, who is the god of rebirth, two very important gods who are also considered to be enemies. So, we are now in Magran's Fork, named after that god I was just talking about, and we have a party of 4 now. We have Adair, myself, Bjartar, Aloth, and Durrance.
All right, then.
Statue of Magran, goddess of war and flame. Dozens of names have been scratched into the stone. At her feet, supplicants seeking her blessing. Wolf. Oh, I haven't seen this yet. Arcane Assault unleashes a bolt of energy from the grimoire that inflicts raw damage and dazes targets in the area. Thought this was going to be easier, so I'm now realizing that I should have been thinking about it a little bit more.
Hey, beyond seek.
Drops down.
You're not getting through me. You just get quiet.
Durrance is down. Probably should have taken control of one of those wolves at some point. We got him. Okay, so now they have a twisted ankle, so they get some kind of wound if they fall in combat. So this one is minus 25 reflex. Endurance, same thing, twisted ankle. Be a good time to rest now. Yeah, let's rest. Okay, so when I rest, I can get some accuracy bonuses. But I'm just gonna keep the damage reduction. Okay, feeling much better now.
Of course.
Any new places here? Nope. I believe we've opened up the Esternwood before. Let's see if there's anything in this sunken shack here. Go in. Will-o-wisp. Alright, let's open up the bestiary. So here's what the Collector's Guide Bestiary says about will-o-wisp. City folk who never see will-o-wisps often see them as the lost souls of children meandering to their next lives. Rural types who regularly encounter them find this hilarious. Wisps inhabit abandoned ruins and other forgotten places, and they're known to be curious, sometimes following adventurers and other visitors. While they may peacefully patrol their chosen haunts, they become extremely aggressive and territorial if provoked, or if they perceive a threat to their habitat. They are known as the weeds of the spirit world, small, quick to regenerate, and bothersome in large numbers. Like Delemgan, which is another creature, they have a friendly disposition towards rangers and druids. It's interesting. Okay, so that was our first will-o-wisp there. They are a spirit type enemy. Let's fight him. Oops, not that one. This one. I guess it can't be knocked down, but let's see.
Lava!
That was easier than I thought it was going to be.
Fight!
Got a scepter. Vegetables and fruit. Seems long abandoned here. Oh, got a rope and grappling hook and camping supplies. Glad I came in here. Oh. Gold rat chew. I believe we've read that item description before. We now have access to Black Meadow. I believe a quest was there too. Goldpack Paladins and Ludrana. So the only thing I can find in the guidebook about Gold-packed Paladins seems to be a kind of an order of Paladin. And there are multiple orders that you can be a part of. They have the Bleak Walkers, Darkozy Paladini, Old Valia. Gold-packed Knights can be from anywhere. Kind Wayfarers can be from anywhere. And Shield Bearers of St. Elga are from Greater Edir. And it seems like it has some kind of impact on the talents that you can have. Like Gold Pact Knights have access to Enduring Flames, which modifies something called Flames of Devotions, and gives you a forget what they're called in this game, where you can modal, a modal ability that allows you to use a full attack 100% damage as a burn. And they also have Bond of Duty, modifies Liberating Exhortation, so another Liberating Exhortation, so another modal thing here that kind of upgrades something else that other paladins have access to. And they can use it on a friendly target, and hostile effects suspended for 20 seconds. So I believe Gold Pact is just a name for the type of paladin that this is. And I wanted to stop and do that first because I feel like this isn't going to end peacefully, but we'll see. Ludrana says, "There, that one, get that one." Oh, I was right. It is not going to end peacefully. Let's see if that works. Use that one to get closer.
Hey. The Baru.
So not much story there. Let's see what happens. I search them, then I have something. There we go. Ludrana's orders. It seems I have no choice but to provide you with instruction. Radric's forces are spread thin, and the road through the wilds to the south of Gilded Vale lies unguarded. Given these favorable circumstances, I'm sure that even you can manage to handle a peasant or two. The archers tell me that Kolsch's men made south after their escape. If you should happen to retrieve one of their number, I may be convinced to forgive your previous mistakes. For the last time, you are to keep clear of Defiance Bay. Know that if you cannot be trusted to acquire a useful specimen that with even a modicum of discretion, I have no qualms whatsoever about using what materials I have at my disposal instead. Signed, O. So Radric is the Lord of, or Duke, Grave, I don't remember exactly his title, of Gilded Vale. And we know that his wife just had a baby who either died or was hollowborn. Kolsch, we've heard, is starting a rebellion of sorts against him. And it looks like he sent this person out to find people related to Kolsch and promise them, it seems like they were like paying off some kind of a penalty for a crime or something like that. What else? We have a grimoire here, so we can give that to Aloth if we want to, which actually we will. And everything else seems pretty bog standard. Okay.
Of course.
I don't know if I mentioned this yet. I appreciate the stash in this game for our ability to be able to just kind of sell things. We don't have to worry about weight or anything like that, because that's always annoying when you have a huge amount of things and you just can't carry them. So you just got to leave a bunch of things on the battlefield. In this game, you can carry anything. But what I wanted to mention was, I think the most interesting solution to this I've seen is a game called Solasta Crown of the Magister, I believe. I haven't actually beat the game yet, but there is a mechanic in that game. There's a group of people called scavengers, and after you clear out a battlefield, they actually go and pick up all of the discarded short swords and shields and everything, and they just kind of pay you a like a base on what they would make on what they scavenged, which I think is a really cool solution to that problem where you just can't carry things all the time. The stash is great, but it's also, I mean, a little bit unbelievable that we just have this magical thing that we can carry around with us that carries as much stuff as we want it, whereas Celesta's solution actually makes sense in the world, so I think that was kind of cool. Celesta is based on the D&D 5e rules. Came out about the same time as Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access, and it's not nearly as polished as Baldur's Gate 3, but it's still an interesting and fun game, even though battles sometimes feel more like they're taking place on a board game type thing rather than in the actual world. But that was a digression there, so let's see if there's anything else that opened. Anslog's Compass. I know that we need to get something for, I can't remember her name, but it was Kalisha's sister in Gilded Vale, who was worried that her child would be hollowborn, and supposedly there's someone in Anslog's Compass that has some kind of tea or something, or soup, that could help with that. So we are going to, I think that's the next place we're going to go. I just want to finish exploring Magran's Fork first. Ooh, we have a fine greatsword. Is Derek good with greatswords? Doesn't look like it. I'll give him the sword. I won't equip it yet then. Yeah, he's only got a saber right here, so. Okay.
Hey. All right, then.
Your reflection warps and twists in the live, gleaming Adra. Adra, again, this is the type of thing I imagine the farmer kind of knocked over or dug into that started the Broken Stone War, which I believe you read about. I don't remember if it was last session or the session before that, which was the first major conflict between the Glenfathans and the Adirn Empire, the Adirn colonists. Anything else over here? Nope. I find it incredibly satisfying to reveal the fog of war as we go through these areas. The new Baldur's Gate 3 unfortunately doesn't have a fog of war like this. I would love it if they implemented it by full release. And maybe it has been implemented. I played it for the first few months, but I haven't played it in quite a while after that, so maybe they have done that. Young boar. And some regular boars. Can I charm a boar? I don't know if that's possible or not. Doesn't look like it. Out for BR. What happened to him this time? He's got a swollen eye, -4 perception.
All right, then.
Let's go to the north first. Let's talk to Fulmer. Fulmer says, hello there. Begging your pardon, but you gave me a good fright. I thought I heard something rustling through the bush. Suppose that was just you. Silly of me. Don't suppose you happen to need some supplies. I thought I'd make my way over to Modmer Bridge, but I'm starting to think I might be better off heading back to town and getting a few more folks together. So, a traveling salesman here? Better safe than sorry, right? Say, do you hear something? There's a wolf.
Of course.
Fulmer says, by every star in the sky, thank you. I've never seen these beasts so bold before. Strange times we're in. Here, take these. I'm headed back to Guildvale for certain, and you can make better use of them. So he gave us 3 potions of minor endurance. We use those for Bjarter. He is losing his his endurance very quickly. Oh shit. A forest troll here. So here's the bestiary entry for troll. These gangly giants stand twice the height of average humans. Their bodies are covered in large fungal growths which leak foul-smelling pus-like fluid. Their oversized hands and feet extend to giant claws capable of rending man in two. Dozens of slimy tendrils hang loosely from atop their oversized heads, and their vast maws are filled with jagged, razor-sharp teeth. Trolls have long faces, long chins, long noses, and tangled masses of wiry, fungus-infected hair at the tops of their heads. They never use weapons and don't wear hides. Looking at a troll, it can be difficult to tell whether they've evolved in harmony with lichen moss and fungi, or whether they've been overtaken by them. A troll's naturally clammy flesh provides an ideal growing environment for these plants. They provide camouflage, as well as some protection from the elements, and enzymes they produce also offer limited sustenance for trolls in lean times. Because of their symbiosis with these plants, trolls generally dwell in heavily wooded areas, although some may occasionally be seen in damp underground environments, and that also house an abundance of lichens and fungi. So this is an interesting take on trolls, I think. How they're not just big brutes, but they tend to provide a good growing environment for things that grow around here. I'm just zooming in here, see if we can see it. Looks like there's some like mushrooms and stuff growing on him in here, and maybe some moss on him. So it's cool that they actually represent that visually as well. Bjarter is not looking too good going into this fight. Think we're gonna have to rest after this, but Let's see if we can actually get this guy for now. Oh man. Priest clears his or her mind, spreading that clarity to nearby allies, thereby increasing their concentration and will bonuses. Sure. Wait for a level 2 cipher spell. There we go. Use this one that causes him to recall agony. Okay. Troll skin. The hide of a troll is formed from what appears to be several layers of thin vines and plants, and mulch, forming a thick, nearly impenetrable skin. Oh, I didn't take it.
Of course.
This guy looks like he was a victim of the troll. We have Fulvano's amulet. I believe we've read about Fulvano somewhere. +5 reflex, +25% healing received. Though never as famed as he would claim, the Valiant explorer Fulvano was known as an eccentric who wished to see the world. Where possible, he traveled by foot to gain locals' appreciation for the sights, sounds, and smells of the lands he passed through. In practice, however, Fulvano often claimed that his explorations proved only that the world outside of the Valiant Republics was a foul, smelly place that paled in comparison to his homeland. This amulet is said to have belonged to Fulvano. He was a man much taken with mild superstitions, and this talisman, he said, was a source of luck. It also served a more sentimental purpose, for it depicts one of the great ships commonly seen at the docks of his homeland. So yeah, Fulvano was a famed explorer. I don't know if this is actually him on the ground or not. I'm going to get this to Bearter. Let's take a look at this chewed letter. This piece of parchment is torn and flecked with blood and troll spittle. What little of it remains reads, "Worried he might have come to harm. Once I reach Defiance Bay, I will hire guards to take me back west in safety and see if we cannot find Fulvano. At present, I regret my eagerness to be away from Gilded Vale. It is very dark." So, I'm going to take a quick look, actually, at our inventory here. So here was a scrawled letter, too. I believe we read this already, but I do not think you will ever see this, but you were right, Fulvano. We should have journeyed south together and been safer for it. I would tolerate all the gloating in the world if I might live to hear it. I have put myself out of reach of the beasts circling below, but I am done for all the same. I do not think I will rise again. Whoever finds this, pray for me. Perhaps in the next life, I shall be a trapper of wolves. Okay, so it seems like we're kind of following in Fulvano's footsteps.
Hey.
Oh, that's just a south. Okay.
All right, then.
A little bit more to explore over this way. I think that's everything. I mentioned I love clearing the fog of war. This drives me crazy a lot of times when there's like a little part of the map that I just can't get to and I can't fill in. Oh, this Ultra Formation is actually a map pin. Alright, so I think first I want to travel to Anslog's compass. And then rest. So here we are, Anslog's compass. Oh, not a heal multiplier. I don't know what kind of beasties we're going to be facing here, so let's just keep the damage reduction. Egdrang and Tilly are here. Two villagers stand by one of the tide pools. They're breathing harshly, clearly winded, and look up nervously as you approach.
Good day, stranger.
Tilly says, "If you're here to fish, as we are, stranger, you'll want to avoid the compass proper." The dwarven woman points to the southeast. Her companion shakes his head. Egdrang says, "A lot of ships wind up spread across the rocks here, so we didn't think much of the wreckage, until we heard something." Tilly says, "A terrible noise. I thought maybe it was a survivor, but he wasn't alive. Moving, but not truly alive." She shudders. "It was awful." I'm going to ask, what are you two doing out here? Egdrain replies, "Fishing, of course, except I lost my fishing rod when I flung it at the head of one of those monsters." He sighs. We were looking the tide pools over and thought we'd try our luck down by the rocks. Got the fright of our lives. We'll have to make do with the nets here or go hungry." Going to say, "You said there were a lot of shipwrecks here?" The woman nods. "All the time. It's a lovely place, but dangerous as anything to sail. Good fishing most days." Tilly wipes her brow. "I think we'll look further up the coast next time." And then I'm going to say, "What do you mean? What did you see?" Egdrain replies, "Corpses. Walking corpses. We don't want any part of it, whatever the cause. Might be we can find something in these tide pools, and then we're headed straight home." Alright, so they are spooked from some zombies or something lower in the map, more south of the map. And Egdrain bids us goodbye. Good tidings. Wait, do you hear that? And here we get a Zorp. We have fought them before. I'm going to guess that there are more behind. Oh, they actually helped me fight. They weren't cowards. Zorp tongues. Alright.
All right then.
More Zorps.
Leave it!
Somebody level up? What was that noise?
All right then.
Crabs and small fish cluster in this pool, left behind by the tide. Is Defiance Bay on the map new? I don't remember. I believe I have mentioned it before, but Defiance Bay is the big city in this, and it's so big that there are multiple sections of it. Someone actually mentioned Madmere Bridge, I don't remember who said it. And then we have the First Fires, Heritage Hill, Andra's Gifts, Brackenbury, the Adelwyn Bridge, and Copper Lane, which are all parts of Defiance Bay. And then here's Cadnua, which is where Radric is right now. Ooh, more pages from Fulvano's travels. After several days' journey, it seems it is time to at last to part ways with my traveling companion from New Humar. Humar. A pity we could not see the compass together, but perhaps he will have as grand a time in Girin's grasp. I've given him my gloves for safekeeping, for I will hardly need them in such fine weather. So, yeah, he bid goodbye and obviously did not survive the troll attack in Magran's Fork. Oh, I'm gonna keep that. Ahoy there, ahoy, says this man. Punamu Birdscorned is his name. Kind of you to stop and speak, my western friend. And Omawa stands before you, his hair matted and once bright clothes in ruins. Equally ruined is his face, a hatching of thin scars crossed by broader wounds. Haven't seen another kith since my ship went down. I do not suppose you are looking to lighten your purse. Is he going to attack us? Sounds like a bandit thing to say. Who are you? I am called Punamu Birdscorned, chronicler of the Juana people. Strange, I know, but we do not choose our names, do we? He chuckles, running a hand across his scarred visage. I'm going to say you were shipwrecked? Aye. We were transporting goods from the Deadfire to Defiance Bay when a storm took us off course and ran us aground here. Only I survived. He frowns for a moment, but then shakes his head, clearing the expression. You should consider sailing the islands of Deadfire, friend. No more beautiful a realm exists in the whole of the world. I am considering it, once I do everything I need to do in the first game. What are you selling? Oh, that's what he meant by lighten your purse. The ship's cargo, goods from the Deadfire, a few personal trinkets, all of the highest quality. I wouldn't sell them, but without coin, how am I to return to my homeland? Let me see your wares. Of course. We have Fulvano's blunderbuss here. Though never as famed as he would claim, the Valiant explorer Fulvano was known as an eccentric who wished to see the world. Where possible, he traveled by foot. Seems like this is a lot. Yeah, we already read this when we picked up his amulet, which I forgot to equip. And then this one says, though known more for his wanderlust than any great martial skill, Fulvano possessed an appraising eye for gear, and this blunderbuss seems no exception. Despite its worn surface, this firearm functions as if it were made yesterday. Its firing mechanism smooth, and its aim as true as one that can expect for a shot slinger. The pristine condition may suggest that Fulvano never actually fired his gun, lending credence to an otherwise apocryphal quote from an attributed to him. Lead and steel can rid you of an enemy, but only wine transforms an enemy into a friend. In other words, it seems like Fulvano was a fan of peace over fighting. One-Eyed Melina's gold-fingered spike flinger. Oh, this is a soul-bound weapon. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that we ran into these so quickly. Oh. So, looking at this soul-bound here, soul-bound items are unique items that can magically bond with the soul of a single character. Once bound, the item can only be used by that character unless the bond is severed. A soul-bound item will increase in power as the wielder completes certain requirements specified in the item's description. Most soul-bound items can only bond with characters of certain classes. However, regardless of the item's type, a soul-bound item always qualifies for any talents or abilities like weapon focus and specialization that the character may have. For example, if a fighter has weapon focus and specialization in ruffian, he or she would gain their benefits when wielding a soul-bound greatsword or wand. Benefits from multiple talents or abilities of the same type, for example, weapon focus, ruffian, and peasant, do not stack. If the bond to a soul-bound item is ever severed, it will lose all the abilities it has gained over time. I believe these soul-bound weapons were added after the initial release of the game because people were, I guess, disappointed that the game didn't at the lack of fun weapons. So they added these soul-bound weapons that kind of leveled up with you. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that they showed up this early. Anyway, One-Eyed Melina's gold-fingered spike flinger. looks like some kind of a crossbow, or there it is, arbalist. The dreaded Principe Sanpetrina prowl the seas of the Deadfire, a persistent threat to the organized trading companies and to outlaw smugglers and slavers alike. These pirates originated as refugees from Old Valia, and some of them continue to maintain the traditions of that land. Others are as brutal and anarchistic a group as freebooters to have ever roamed the waves. Due to the dangers presented by firearms aboard ships, many raiders prefer crossbows. This almost ridiculously heavy arbalist fires bolts with enough force to knock its victims from their feet. Gold leaf accents on the stock and stirrup differentiate it as a work of Valian engineering from more common crossbows. It's more money than we have. Saber of the Seas is a unique saber. The sweep of the sword's steel suggests the tumultuous waves of an angry sea. Its blade always feels a tad cooler to the touch than you expect, and water beads along its length, a fine wet layer that seems to add to the weapon's heft. Though hardly unheard of in the Deerwood, sabers tend to be wielded more frequently aboard ships, where sailors eschew heavy armor that can spell death for a mariner pitched overboard. The symbol of Andra stamped it into this saber's blade suggests a similar origin for it. I think that's the second time we've heard of Andra. Maybe I'll do a god reading of Andra after I'm done with these items here. A war club of the Mataro, another soulbound weapon. So it seems like this gray is a signification that it is a soulbound weapon. So here's the war club of the Mataro, a one-handed club. The Huana, a cultural alliance of Almaua tribes native to the Deadfire Archipelago, stand in opposition to the predations of the Principe pirates and the machinations of the mercantile companies that would exploit the Deadfire. The Mataro, the Huana's military caste, both exercise power over the tribes and defend them against their many enemies and the dangers of the sea. A Deadfire woodworker carved this sturdy club blessed by the priests of Ngati to be top-heavy and etched with symbols of the sea. Its once bright paints have all but erased by time and hard use. I believe Ngati is another name of Andra, which I said we are going to read her entry in the Collector's Guide. So it's interesting. I wonder if these soulbound weapons are here because this guy's from the Deadfire Archipelago, which is where the second game takes place. So I wonder if it's kind of a nod to that. And we do get some mentions of the Huana and the Principe. So the Principe are pirates there. The Huana are I believe they're all Almaua. I could be wrong about that though. But they are the cultural alliance of Almaua tribes native to the Deadfire Archipelago. So yeah, the Huana are the Maua are tribal, but the Huana are kind of like a collection of them. But I don't want to get into too much detail about that because we are going to learn so much more about the Huana, the Almaua, the Deadfire Archipelago in particular, and the Principe and all those kinds of things when we play the second game. So I don't want to get into a lot of detail about that right now. Let's see. Another soulbound belt. Part paramilitary navy and part mercantile trade guild, the Royal Deadfire Company strives to spread Rauataian hegemony through the Deadfire Archipelago. The RDC boasts iron-shod ships bristling with heavy weaponry, crewed by loyal and efficient sailors, advantages that help the company maintain an influential presence in the region. This belt of fine sharkskin bears the geometric tooling common in Rauataian fashion, and within the shallow grooves of each right angle hide arcane sigils. Though its material does not feel unusual to the touch, the belt imparts the wearer of a feeling of comfortable warmth. So this belongs to the Royal Deadfire Company, which is another faction in the second game. Another soulbound item. The company captain's hat. Oh, it's a helmet, huh? The Valian Trading Company, the only mercantile company from the full backing of all five Duke's Bells of the Valian Republics, has established itself as a thriving power in the Deadfire Archipelago. While involved in numerous trades, the VTC's primary interest in the region rests in the presence of a rare and valuable form of Adra. This feathered tricorn hat bears the company's mark on its inner lining. Its dapper styling accentuates the wearer's grace and allure, helping them stay in command during the most onerous of predicaments. So, it seems like all these soulbound items are like a nod to all the different factions that you can be a part of in the second game. We have the Principe, which is the pirates. We have the Royal Deadfire Company. We have the Valiant Trading Company. And we also have the Huana. So very interesting there. That's cool. Wow. And these are unique as well, these uniforms. The bosun's uniform, I believe that's how it's pronounced. The weather in the high seas swings between extremes of blisteringly dry heat and brutally wet coldness of nighttime storms. Sailors who can afford to do so prefer to wear layers, matching warm coats with shirts or blouses of light, breathable materials. Pirates in particular, given the import of reputation and infamy in their culture, tend towards gaudy, flamboyant clothing that not only displays their ill-gotten goods, but serves as identification that can help intimidate victims or ward away foes. As the foremost among the mates, the bosun manages most of the rest of the crew. This requires not only a firm grasp on every aspect of seamanship, but also a constant awareness of the state of the ship and crew. A superlative bosun marries these traits to a strong capacity for leadership. A well-liked bosun can be the difference between an unhappy crew and a mutinous mob. So, for the deckhand's uniform, seems like the beginning of it is the same thing. The last paragraph, the last one was about the importance of the bosun. This one says for a deckhand, the lifeblood and muscle of a ship, deckhands handle a wide variety of tasks, including repairs, sanitation, and rigging. A seaman must be nimble and quick, as a misplaced step or lost grip on the rolling sea can lead to an excruciating death. And then finally, the helmsman uniforms. The helmsman guides the ship from the wheel. The role requires significant strength to wrestle the rudder against the force of the ocean, and the focus and resilience to remaining attentive through violent storms, bloody combat, and almost interminable stretches of boredom. Okay, so that's all the unique items here. Let's sell some stuff. We don't have enough gold to buy any of it, but I think I can just sell all this. $12.63 now. Can you buy anything? No. Wouldn't mind this Saber of the Seas for a dare, but I don't have nearly enough for that. Oh well. I guess I lightened my purses and I got rid of a bunch of items, but you gave me your gold. Ranga. I think that's the woman with the hollowborn thing. Fish and clumps of seaweed, bright green with heat royal in the stew. It tastes pleasantly salty. Did we taste it? Ranga. You find yourself facing a towering Aumaua woman. Her skin is the warm gold brown of a dying sunset, with pale, fish-white patches at throat and hands. Wavy red-brown hair pulled into tight braids around a stripe of bare skin that follows the curve of her skull, follows down her broad shoulders. So we've now met two Aumaua.
Good day to you.
Ranga regards you calmly, evidently unsurprised to find you here at the edge of her camp by the water. Have you come for medicines and craft works, or to share the fire? She gestures to the large cauldron nearby. Alfra. Let's wait on that one and instead ask, what's that Zorop doing here? Who, Tana? Ranga replies. He helps me gather ingredients, work the cauldron, things like that. He's been quite a help around here. The Zorop lets out a rattling chirp and bares its teeth in what you guess is intended to be a cheerful expression. So it seems like she tamed a pet Zorop here. Gonna say, who are you? My name is Ranga. I lived in Gilded Vale for a time, working as a healer and a midwife. Perhaps you've been to that place? You'll understand then why I might choose to come south. Yeah, a bunch of people hanging on trees in Gilded Vale. In any case, it is far more comfortable here by the shore where I can hear the water, and I still get visitors from time to time. Perhaps you're in need of something. Let's see what she has for sale. Certainly, have a look. Some stew. This is alcohol. Blackson. A common sight in the Deerwood, Blackson is fashioned from Sonreed liquor and boiled sap from Glenfathan trees. It's known to lend a sense of heightened alertness to the user, though it leaves one feeling warm and lethargic once it wears off. So again, all these drugs, and I like the crash that it has after, it's like 10 minutes. After 10 minutes of a boost, you have a crash after that time. Okay. Let's talk to her again.
Greetings.
I'm going to say Alfra sent me. She says that you know some way to ensure that her child is not a Hollowborn. Ranga replies, more of Lord Radric's frightened flock. She nods slowly. You are kind to come all this way. Poor Alfra must be beside herself. I imagine she gave you something for payment. Whatever it is, you keep it. I don't need coin. I need you to do something for me instead. Ranga points inland. There is a Zorab tribe to the northeast, led by one of their priests. Tana was exiled from there some time ago, and their scouts still lurk about this place, waiting for an opportunity to end his life. Tana, the Zorab lets out a rattling squawk, head drooping, so it seems like the Zorabs are after Tana. Ranga. One day, I will have to go for supplies, and I will come back to find my assistant slain. How will I help anyone then? She shakes her head. You rid me of this nuisance, and I will do what I can for Alfra. And throw in something for you, too. All right, I'll be back when it's done. Good. You'll find them easily enough, I think. She smiles, baring sharp teeth. Good luck. Party gained 408 experience. So, just got a new quest to clear out the Zorps. We also read something about Andra, and we have met a couple Almaua, so I think those are some guidebook entries that I'd like to read right now. So first, let's look at Andra. Aliases: the Lady of Lament, Salty Wench, vulgar and cheeky, or the Sea Vault. Her portfolio is ocean, seas, forgotten places and things, lost, mourning the tide, relentlessness. She has no allies and no foes. I believe the allies and foes are strictly like among the other gods. And symbols: cresting waves under a crescent moon. Andra is a melancholy and mournful goddess who, legends say, was once in love with a moon. She is the ruler of all seas and oceans, and is venerated by sailors, fishermen, those who live near the shore, and those who mourn loss, especially lost love. Legends of Andra are old, compared to many legends of other gods. Stories of her romance from the moons can be found in several cultures around the world. In these stories, Andra falls in love with the moon, but is ignored. She pursues the moon and attempts to touch it, causing part of it to fall into her, losing its glow as it descends into her depths. This event causes horrible catastrophes all over the world. So I think it's interesting here to point out that even in a world with gods and souls, where we can actually look at it and say that these gods and souls are part of the natural order of things, people who follow these gods still come up with supernatural explanations that may or may not be true based on the gods. So where in our own world we use supernatural explanations in myths to talk about like the creation of the world, or we talk about like karma as the universe getting back at people who commit bad deeds, or the universe giving things to people who commit good deeds, or we talk about like astrological signs about how our personality is based on where the stars were when we were born. So where we have supernatural explanations for those kinds of things in our world, even in a world where things that are supernatural like gods and souls actually do exist, there are still supernatural explanations for some kind of phenomena, which is kind of interesting. So when there's a lot of horrible catastrophes all over the world, then people think that's a result of Andra's love for a moon. Continuing on with Andra. Despite this, legends say Andra still continues to pursue her love. People believe that tides are her perpetual pursuit of the remaining moon. Tidal waves, tsunamis, and similar catastrophes are the results of her more aggressive attempts. In legends, Andra is one of the few deities that do not take physical form. In rare cases where she exerts her influence, it is felt through the water or its inhabitants. She is also never known to speak. She is popularly imagined as a goddess who listens and accepts without judgment or reply. As such, many use her via the ocean or the sea as a confessional for feelings they cannot otherwise express. People also drop objects into the ocean or sea, including bodies, others, or their own, to forget about them, believing that Andra will hold them in the darkness with her piece of the moon. Andra's gift bearers are groups of men and women who collect donations of trinkets, love notes, and other objects from people who live far inland in exchange for a small fee. The gift bearers take these objects to the ocean or sea and ceremonially drop them into a particularly deep spot. There have been historical cases of gift bearers, or people posing as them, abusing their responsibility, either by pawning the gifts they are given or by reading the contents of notes and diaries people give them and using them for blackmailing purposes. As a result, in some areas, gift bearers are mistrusted or even attacked by suspicious locals. Andra's hair are long, slowly shifting pillars of water that rise up from the surface of oceans and seas. They are the most direct physical manifestation of Andra anyone has ever recorded, capable of gesturing, manipulating objects in the environment, and even attacking with blinding speed and terrible power. Legends say that Andra's hair manifests to thwart or punish plunderers from the deep sea. So Andra, very interesting god. We have the idea of the gift bearers that take objects and bury them, so to speak, in the sea for people. They are not trusted because often people take advantage of people who hire them and to steal from them, basically. So that's Andra, who I believe becomes a little bit even more important in the expansions and is definitely important in the next game. The other thing I wanted to read about is the Aumaua. So this is the entry on the Aumaua. Strap in for this one. There are different kind of races of Aumaua that I'm going to be reading about as well. The Aumaua are a large race that originated and typically live and work in warm oceanic climates. Though they are not the most widely traveled racial group in the world, that distinction belongs either to the Kalbandran humans or the Aptapo dwarves, they have been exploring and settling continuously for the longest period of time, over 20,000 years. Aumaua have two widely divergent ethnicities that are geographically separated by thousands of miles, likely due to a huge migration that took place over 15,000 years ago. Aumaua are not found in large numbers in any heterogeneous cultures, but when they do integrate into non-Aumaua cultures, they tend to assimilate fully. They are occasionally found in the Deerwood, the Valian Republics, Rayed Ceres, and rarely in Edir. They are most often found in or near port cities, so that checks out for Anslog's compass, which is right on the coast here. Aumaua are physically distant from other races due to their towering size, inverted triangle physique, odd skin, and hair coloration and textures, and head shape. Aumaua's natural lifespans are typically between 70 and 115 years, so fairly long-lived. Island Aumaua is the first, what did they call them? Ethnicities. So the first ethnicity is the Island Aumaua. The most common way non-Aumaua distinguish Aumaua is between southern Island Aumaua and northern coastal Aumaua. Southern Aumaua are physiologically similar in many ways, but have coloration that is starkly different from their northern kin. As their nickname suggests, Island Aumaua originate in a huge archipelago 1,000 miles south of the Valian Republics. Though still uncommon in Deerwood and surrounding environments, Island Aumaua are more commonly encountered than coastal Aumaua, who are quite rare. When encountered around Deerwood, they are often laborers, fishermen, and sailors. Features: higher body fat relative to coastals, not in general, very wide nose bridges and widely spaced eyes, round or square faces, upturned or prominent eyes with epicanthic folds, long skulls with prominent domes. Hair does not grow on the crown of the head. Slightly webbed hands and feet below the second knuckle. Long arms, tiny ears that barely protrude from the head. Their skin is warm tones, often brown or yellow, running into fish-like white. Their hair is clay red, copper, green-brown, brown, black, wavy, or kinky texture, and their eyes are yellow, silver, blue, copper, or hazel. The second ethnicity is the coastal Aumaua. Dwelling primarily in the northern hemisphere, so-called coastal Aumaua live in a conquered mainland region, mostly along the coast. Coastal Aumaua cultures are more centralized and urban than their southern counterparts, though they are still involved in seafaring. While it isn't accurate to think of Island Aomao as peaceful and coastal Aomao as warlike, this is exactly how many people in the Dyrwood view them. The reason for this is connected to the ancient campaign of war in which Aomao pushed Thirton, Natlan, and Orland communities out of a number of territories. Because this successive series of wars allowed the Aomao to resettle the northern lands, it is vaguely recollected in many people's minds. Coastal Aomao are more common in Edir than in Dyrwood or surrounding areas, but when they are encountered, they are often mercenaries, bodyguards, or soldiers. Their features are very wide nose bridges and widely spaced eyes, rectangular or square faces, narrow almond or round eyes, long skulls with prominent domes, slightly webbed hands and feet below the second knuckle, long arms, tiny ears that barely protrude from the head. Their skin is cool tones, often blues, grays, or greens, running into fish-like white. Their hair is silver, blonde, strawberry blonde, brown, straight, or wavy texture, and their eyes are yellow, silver, blue, gold, green, or brown. So the interesting thing here is that the coastal Aomao are considered warlike by a lot of people because of an ancient war that pushed people out of territories that Aomao then settled. But they are not necessarily warlike, they just kind of have that reputation because of this ancient war. So, Ranga here has asked us to get rid of the Zorop tribe. She is in Aomao. Let's zoom in, see if we can see. Can't really see her that well. Aomao are usually bigger than humans, and their pictures often depict them with sharp teeth. But despite their kind of almost monstrous appearance, they are not monstrous, and many are friendly, very friendly, as these two that we've met. There's a cave up here, there's Zorop. Zorops are pretty weak. And I believe I mentioned their, not ability, but they worship dragons often. Alright, inside a cave here. Does it have a name? It says Sea Cave. Okay, we have sporlings and dank spores. So from the bestiary in the Collector's Guide, these giant mushrooms stand taller than the Aomao and have dozens of roots surrounding their base. Dank spores are unique compared to other forms of fungi due to their affinity for rot, decay, and also the souls of living creatures. They often creep in groups along the forest floor, searching for weakened or exhausted travelers who are unable to fight back. Once they find a host, they bind to it and supply it with basic nutrients to keep it alive while they absorb its essence. Pretty nasty there. Dank spores are extremely hostile once they find a host, and will attack anything that gets close to their meal with their poisonous barbed roots. I wonder if this guy over here is, was supposed to be a host, or there's another dead body over here. So it seems like they found multiple hosts. Dank spores feed on the most corrupt and rotten energy of a soul first, continuing until the host is nothing but a soulless husk. This makes dank spore flesh useful to experienced apothecaries as a cleansing agent in soul purification medicines and techniques. Improperly applied, however, this treatment can lead to amnesia and, in extreme cases, soul fracturing. And then the sporlings are the small humanoid juvenile form of dank spores. While more mobile and agile than their mature counterparts, they are also weaker. They spawn from dank spores and use their heightened mobility to seek prey and gain strength. Like dank spores, they feed off both decaying organic matter and essence, and they must bulk up on sufficient amount of both before maturing into dank spores themselves. So that's who we're fighting here. Seems like they look for a host and then inhabit that host by feeding on its soul energy. I was wondering if that would happen. Dank spores. These small, feather-thin spores have delicate, stinging barbs by which they cling to surfaces, passing creatures in the inside of nostrils. You know what? I'm going to... Oh, first of all, equip this that I keep forgetting to equip. Oh. That was the wrong thing. I wanted to equip it on Arthur. Never mind. Equip it on a deer. I forget why I opened the inventory. Oh, because I was going to eat food.
I'm here.
Okay. So let's go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just cast that on somebody that hasn't been damaged yet. So as it said, these sporelings are more mobile than the actual dank spore itself, which seems to just kind of be hanging out there. It's probably dangerous, but can't attack us right now. But let's go get it.
You're not getting through me.
Let's see if we can get knocked down. Oh, Bjartur is confused. Uh-oh.
Hey.
That's it!
You didn't mean it. You're not.
So I ate food and then got confused, so I was using that food to attack my own party. Moss and mold cover the bones like a blanket. They smell earthy and wet.
All right then.
Just a regular arbalest. Poultry and silver loosh. Not much in here. It said that dank spores were often found in forests. That was obviously a cave on a coast. Though I might have just missed something when I was reading it. Oh, here are the ghouls that the two fishermen were talking about. So from the bestiary, ghouls. Most hold that ghouls retain enough mental understanding to be canny hunters and adversaries, but not enough to care about the advanced degradation of their once living bodies. Like Darghouls, they seek secluded environments, although some also gravitate towards cemeteries for the consumable flesh available there. Consuming flesh feeds their hunger for physical nourishment, but it falls short of satisfying their need for essence. Inhabiting a graveyard may actually hasten their decay since it satisfies a part of their hunger and reduces their incentive to find living sources of food. So they eat the dead. And I believe, if I'm right, there is a kind of progression of undead from vampire to Darghoul to ghoul to revenant. So when we start meeting more of these, maybe I'll go over that in more detail. But for now, let's just fight this guy. Vessel flesh. I think we got that already. Surprised that Zork was down here. This ghoul's about. I wonder if that little animation of them kind of hunched over on all fours is like a common way to depict ghouls, because I think that's the way they move in The Witcher too. A deer and Bjarter are weakened. That must be some kind of attack that they have there.
Hey.
Worth and wrath!
These guys have a lot of help. And not going to burn. Okay.
Of course.
At the center of a ring of jagged stone, this boulder casts long shadows across the sand as the sun moves overhead. Potion of Wizard's Double. Creates a duplicate of the caster to distract enemies, granting the caster a higher deflection bonus against a single attack. Amethyst and silver finnings. Oop. Is this like a bigger ghoul? I don't know. Can't tell.
Lava!
Oof, Darren's getting nailed. Didn't make it. Okay, so I'm sickened. And I'm vomiting blood. Durance is severely burned.
Of course.
Another page from Fulano's travels. While traveling westward towards Gilded Vale, I encountered a fellow traveler of some considerable intelligence, and we engaged in pleasant conversation. It came to light that the poor fellow had the most execrable pair of boots upon him. I gave him one of my spear sets that he might better appreciate Valian craftsmanship. May they serve him well, for he said he intended to cross the wilderness known as the Black Meadow. I cannot imagine it is a pleasant place. I think we got those boots off a corpse somewhere. So his friend didn't make it. And I think it is a good time to rest. Okay. Looking much better now. A fine crossbow. Fulvano's letter. How is it that so grand a journey as mine should lead me here? The people of the Deerwood call this pitiable lagoon a sight to see, but all I have experienced here is misfortune. I thought to explore the cavern by the waters, only to discover it was home to sporlings. I went to see the vaunted compass, and lost the bulk of my letters when I tripped over some driftwood. And at last, I made to inspect the dragon skulls nearby, only to be menaced by some foolish little Zorops. I will return to Gilded Vale as soon as I catch my breath. At least the Zorops do not appear to have followed... Uh-oh. Did Fulvano himself die? Probably gonna have some Zorops up here then. Maybe a full tribe. This is the, who, Rongo was talking about. We have a priest and just a bunch of regular Zorops. Let's start by getting one over to our side. I'm going to bring Aloth over here. No, I'll bring him up here so I can cast some damaging spells. That went well. So I cleared out the Zorops. Got some Audra here, agate, most of the other things, a Zorp quarterstaff. Nothing too special.
All
there.
right then.
Clamshells and crab carapaces litter the coals. Prayer against fear. Give that to Aloth. Got some jasper. Jasper is found in the wild as a dull mottled stone, frequently in red or green, but often with a variety of colors lent by other surrounding minerals. While relatively easy to find polished, the stone's distinctive swirls of color give it endless variety. Looks like I got most of it, just a little bit more up north here. Nothing new. Okay, so let's head down to Rongo's camp.
Hail and well met.
Rongo said, "Is it done? Am I rid of the interminable squawking of the Zorops?" "Scree," says Tana. Rongo says, "No, Tana, I do not mind yours. I'm going to say they're all dead." "Good," she replies. "I tire of their feeble attempts to surprise us. Here," she hands you 3 files for your trouble, and now we can get underway with my part of the bargain. So I got a potion of minor regeneration, a potion of minor recovery, and a potion of minor endurance. She says, "I will get started in the mixture, but I need one more ingredient. Some spores from the creatures that in that cave here." She points to the north of their little stretch of beach. "I think I already did what you need me to do. Sporelings, they call them. It is a useful material. I need one for the mixture. You're welcome to any others you find. I have some spores here. So you do. Excellent. Give one here, and I'll add it to the cauldron. This should not take long. Ranga. The mixture is ready. Take this to Alfra. Tell her to drink it before bed, as it induces sleep. She should find herself more energetic in the mornings. Tell her to eat more fish and cheese. The potion will sustain a healthy appetite, grant her strength. She's a rather frail woman from what I remember of her. Tell her to drink. I'm going to ask, what's in this potion anyway? I cannot reveal all my secrets, Ranga smiles. Some dank spores, you know that much. They will bolster the strength in her soul, give her what energy they once stole. It will not cure the legacy, Widewind's legacy. I will tell you that plain. I can tend to ailments of the body, but not afflictions of the soul. Certainly not ones inflicted by the gods. Ranga crosses her arms. I have explained this, but people will believe as they like. So I wonder if she had to leave Gilded Vale because she was worried about being hung, because people were expecting her to cure the legacy of the Hollowborn, but she wasn't actually doing that. She was just helping the people, the actual physical ailments of the people. So let her believe. Perhaps that will help. Faith is a powerful thing. In the meantime, she will feel much improved, and if her child should not be claimed by the legacy, then it will be born healthy. That I will promise. So here's my thinking here. I understand why she's doing this. So I'm not going to call her a charlatan. But would it stop other people from looking for a cure elsewhere? If she wasn't saying that, I don't think so. It doesn't seem like there is some kind of easy cure for this. So granting peace of mind, and not all babies are born hollowborn, so at least it'll help her in the meantime. Ranga says, I've done what I can as promised. Tell Afra I wish her well. Okay. So that's everything in Anslog's compass. Got rid of the ghouls, got rid of the Zorps, and got rid of the spores. Oh, I want to sell all my stuff from this guy. I don't have enough for any of this. Okay. So let's go back to Gilded Vale, to Alfra. I wonder if we'll have any option to tell her that it's not actually a cure. And I also wonder I will take that option if it exists.
Hail and well met.
Alfra says, you were away some time. I worried you wouldn't return. Is that it? Have you bought it? Have you brought it? Alfra looks at you hopefully. What did Ranga say? I'll say, yes, I have it. Here it is. You really did it. Oh, bless you, bless you. I don't know what I would have done without you. Now my baby will be safe. Alfra beams at you. I can't thank you enough. What should I do here? I'm going to tell her. Wait, you should know something about that potion. Alfra blinks, looking down at the vial. What do you mean? I'm going to say, it doesn't do what you think. Ranga says it'll make you feel better, but that's it. But that's... Alfra's happiness quickly fades. But everyone said... She looks away. I should have known. I've been so stupid. How could I think... I'm sorry. I wasted your time. I'm going to say, you don't know that your child will meet the same fate. Perhaps this is best left to chance. Alfra takes a deep breath. You're right. I shouldn't turn to such methods. There may still be another way. She seems to deflate a little, her face weary. I won't take the potion, but thank you, all the same, for acquiring it for me. Here, take this. You can keep what remains of Ranga's payment, too, and take this as well. It was Hathort's. I've been holding on to it, but I think it'll do you more good. It's a minor cloak of protection and 10 copper. I suppose all I can do now is pray. Perhaps the gods will be kind. Completed a quest. So let's take a look. Maybe I'll give this cloak of protection to Durance. Oh, I didn't realize that Durance has a unique staff. Durance's staff appears to be made from a rough-hewn shaft of ever-burning wood. The crook at the end cradles a hovering flame. While many powerful weapons in the Eastern Reach can be enchanted to burn enemies, Durance's unusual is that in that the entire force of the quarterstaff can be converted to searing flame at the wielder's will. Okay. Appropriate for a priest of Magran. So Alfra, I don't know if it was better to let her believe or not, but yeah, we told her the truth about the potion, and hopefully her baby is okay. Uh-oh. Kolsch, this is the guy who's fighting Radric. Hold, sir! But a moment. A hooded man waits upon the road, clad in a dark green cloak. He strides forward to meet you as you approach, and at a closer distance, his features are revealed for those of a younger man, though lined with weariness. He appears to be favoring his left leg as he walks, and there is a dark strain upon the fabric of his trousers. Under the knee. It's dark stain, not strain. Even so, he greets you with a polite bow. It seems you have done dear Alfra a great service. The man nods towards the nearby house. Anslog's compass is a dangerous place, and yet you were willing to venture there to help her. Gilded Vale needs such courage in these dark times. Stout hearts, willing to do what is necessary to save these people. He turns to look out over the village. Can I count on you among that number? Who are you? Only a man determined to see Gilded Vale restored to its former glory. There was a time, stranger, when Gilded Vale was worthy of its name. The wheat shone like gold in the hills, and the village's people lived well. I don't know about these golden crops, says the deer, but there were less flies anyway. Kolsch says, and what has become of it now? Whatever has caused the blight upon our lands, it is not the fault of its people. Radric looks to punish us for crimes we have not committed, and in turn, he is blind to his own. I am not, and he will pay for what he has done. I, Kolsch, swear it by the flame. Like many tyrants, he has surrounded himself with stronger men and women for fear of retribution. The man smiles thinly. And so you are warned. If you would press on despite that, however, I wonder if we might help one another. So I am always a fan of taking down rulers, especially ones that seem to rule with such an iron hand as Radric. So, what is it you want me to do? Kolsch nods, standing a little straighter. It is a grim task that I ask of you, but I assure you there is no other option. Lord Radric must be stopped. Too long his gilded veil suffered under Radric's madness. He would cure Widewind's legacy by ensuring that none alive in the village to be afflicted. I fear his own wife, Ygritte, may be at risk. The man has no mercy in him. In other words, it seems like Radric's cure for Widewind's legacy is to just kill everybody, which seems kind of accurate, looking at that tree in the background there. Kolsch says, "We have not stood idle. My people and I breached the defenses, intent on ending Radric's rule ourselves. We entered through the sewers under cover of night, but we were routed." His face darkens. "There are dark creatures down there in the dungeons, the work of Radric's animancer. It falls to you. Lord Radric has called for further reinforcements, and soon there will be no stopping him. Our time grows short, and in this hour I must beg assistance where I can." Aloth says, "He's going to owe us more than some rubble-strewn plot of land after this." Kolsch says, "Fling him from the ramparts, or else cut his head from his shoulders. I care not. Once his throne lies empty, Gilded Vale will have the stewardship that it deserves." Yeah, I'll find Radric and deal with him. Then I commend you on your courage and thank you for your assistance. But I would not send you onward without due warning. Radric's hold is crawling with soldiers and sellswords, all loyal to Radric. They will not take kindly to intruders. In truth, they will be all the more alert for our failed efforts. A frontal assault would be unwise. If you would brave it, you could follow our steps and seek out the entrance to the sewers at the eastern edge of the moat. He looks away. But several of my men were captured. Maybe the entrance has been found and sealed anew. Those men were under my control. I would be in your debt if you found some means of helping them. Once you make it inside, seek out my old friend Nedmar. He is the high priest. Baratheon, now that the shining god has fallen. So Baratheon is Bereth, which is another god, the god of it's kind of death, but it's more about like the cycle, I think. And the shining god, I believe, is Aethys, a good man in difficult circumstances. He will listen to reason. Durrance chortles, nearly choking on his own disdain. Shining god. He never shone so brightly as when the bomb took him. The moniker is obsolete now. Ash does not shine. It's like if someone was to call you the attractive priest, Durrance, Adir says. Kolsch says, Nedmar can help you reach Radric, but he resides in the upper level of Radric's hold, protected by guards and mercenaries. You will have to keep to the shadows if you mean to reach him without alarming the entire keep. I'll say thank you for your advice. I'll make good use of it. Kolsch. I consider it a blessing from the gods that I have found someone that understands honor and duty. Radric's hold lies past the Esternwood, not far to the east. May Magran bring you victory, friend. I wish you luck. So we have met Kolsch now, who is attempting an uprising, and his attempt went poorly. And he's asking us to take over for him. So I wonder if he's asking us because he knows that we helped Offra. It seemed so because he came to us outside of Offra's house because we helped her and commended us for that. So maybe he just sees that we are kind souls. So while we're here, let's go to the Black Hound Inn. Get a little rest.
Welcome.
Let's go back to the Laborer's Rest. Okay. So what quest do we have here? We have the Old Watcher. This is Cat Nua. We have the Lord of a Barren Land. This is taking care of Radric. The Trials of Durrance. It's a companion quest. The Smith's Shipment. Oh, so Black Meadow. There was a quest there. So the Blackhammer Smithery supply wagons are there. Okay. And then Fragments of a Scattered Faith is the dearest quest, and Buried Secrets. Oh, I forgot about the temple that was here in Gilded Vale. Should we do that right now, or should we go to Black Meadow? Let's do Black Meadow first, and then we'll do the temple below here. Maybe we'll have some more companions. Oh, I leveled up. A deer and Beato leveled up. So I'm looking at these class talents. It's kind of interesting. I guess it's a kind of way to dual class, because these top ones are all cipher abilities. But then if we go down here, we have things that are rogue abilities, and I'm not sure what class this is, but there are talents from other classes, which is kind of cool. It's a unique take on dual class, I think. I have an affinity when I start to stick to roads. That is very much a result of Baldur's Gate, where often, especially in the early game, if you left the roads, then you would get attacked by someone that was way too powerful for you. I don't think Pillars of Eternity does that. I think it's a little bit more of a gradual incline in difficulty. Here's another forest troll. So these are the modal. Okay, so I only have one right now, but I should be using it.
Hey.
Let's see if this attacks my friends too.
All right then.
Field mice scatter, crawling between the beast's teeth. Look like a watcher vision of two people being tortured on a rack there. Oh, defender. +2. Enemies engaged. So engage is if they try to run away from you. That's where you get the attack of opportunity, so I can engage more. I have -5 to deflection and +5 to all defenses except deflection. Another troll. Let's go get it.
Hey.
There's a second troll up there. Let's see if he stays away for now. He did. Thank you, other troll.
Absolutely. Of course.
actually travel to Cadnua now. Another troll.
Hey.
Aloth leveled up.
All right then.
Bandit leader. That I can't see. Oh, maybe that's the bandit leader. What? Who's this? Blazes, Willem, you useless bastard. Get him. We'll add his gear to our pile. We got some bandits here. I'm wondering if these are the people that have the blacksmith's supplies. They attacked the wagon on the road or something like that. Gonna make one fight for me. Lost down.
You're not getting.
That was the smith's shipment. Endurance leveled up. Aloth has a concussion. Greasy chicken bones rattle around the bottom of this crate. Someone carved the initials TRS into the log. I'm not supposed to know what that means. Got some potions here. Oh, that's just oil. Potion of Spirit Shield. Surrounds the caster with a shield of spirit energy, granting an increased damage reduction and a concentration bonus. Gonna give that one to Endurance. Oh, here's the shipment crate. This battered and heavy crate has been pried open in one corner, but its contents remain within. There is a painted hammer and anvil on the side of it, alongside the words Black Hammer Smithery. So yeah, that's what we were looking for. And there a tattered note. I need you to deliver our haul for Kern to sell. He will not speak to you unless you know the words Yiknbiobin Yildfjon. He is only found in the Gift After Dark. Only found in the Gift After Dark. So there's something called Andra's Gift. I wonder if that's an area? But then who's Kerned?
All right then.
Two trolls here. Alright. Can I get it to fight for us?
Hey.
Ooh, yeah.
Not getting. All right, then.
So I think maybe I'm not going to go yet, but I think I want to go to the Esternwood before we go back to Gilded Vale with the shipment. Yep, that's going to drive me crazy. Okay. Forest Lurker. So this is from the bestiary entry on just lurkers, and this is a forest lurker. Lurkers are actually colonies of several different species of parasitic, carnivorous plants and fungi working together to hunt common prey. You can see the mushroom growth on there and everything. Let's actually zoom in on them. Yeah, so you can see like the vines, mushrooms, fungi, because they are colonies. As a whole, they stand nearly 10 feet tall in body, formed of vines, leaves, roots, and earth in a vaguely anthropomorphic shape. The coexistence of so many separate organisms can make them hard to kill, and it is usually best to sever the parts that enable locomotion or to light the entire colony on fire. So I can light them on fire. I wonder if there's some way to sever parts. While the creation of a lurker is a bit of a mystery, some speculate that they form when certain species of flesh-eating plants join together on a common host, such as the soulless victim of dank spores, and become strong enough to achieve animation. This theory is supported by the fact that most swamp and forest lurkers, when cut open, contain bones and other remains riddled with roots and spores. Lurkers are notorious for hiding in plain sight, often remaining motionless and waiting among the trees and underbrush to ambush their prey. They are sophisticated enough to store food. It's not uncommon to see several unconscious victims tangled in a lurker's vines being saved for later feeding. These are very interesting enemies. So I wonder if we look closer. Yeah, I can't really see any humans that have been stored for feeding or not. All right. Let's see if we can kill this thing. Try and confuse it.
I'm here.
This feels great. The deer is losing health fast. I wonder.
How may I help?
Oh, he's stuck. Great. Because he's got some kind of spell with his staff. How do I use that? Thought he did anyway. Maybe he doesn't. First, let's see if maybe I can...
Yes?
Endurance is getting his butt kicked over here. Let's see if I can actually get this to work this time. Nope. I don't know, this isn't going so well.
Aye? Law.
Come on.
Aztec worth and wrath!
Oof. That was a scary fight. This is why I like the endurance system rather than the health. In games like in the old CRPGs like Baldur's Gate, if someone died, then you either had to accept it or reload an old save. This one actually lets you be able to fight through it, so you can hopefully beat them, and then everybody raises. They're not in good shape, obviously, but everybody does raise afterwards, so you don't have to worry about that permanent death, although there is a difficulty setting that lets you do that. But I like that it's a choice. Alright, so we have awakened wood. This irregular chunk of wood seems to hold a trace of life within it. Makes sense for a forest lurker.
Of course.
Some kind of altar over here. Trees and shrubs have grown up around these ancient bones, shrouding this monument to Galawain beneath their leaves. So that is a reference to Galawain, god of hunters. I don't think we'll read that one yet. We already read Andra, so we'll wait for another time to read Galawain's. Let's camp. Whew. Okay. Well-deserved rest there. At the beginning of this, I was saying usually this game doesn't punish you for wandering too far off the paths, and I got attacked by 2 forest lurkers. I guess that wasn't too bad, but probably the toughest fight yet for the party. When I was alone, I had a couple tougher fights. So let's map out the south here. The bones feel as hard as stone, yet surprisingly light. Like some kind of dragon bones, or wyverns, or drakes, or something. Forest troll.
Hey.
Realizing the power of the cipher class here is like priests and wizards, they need to rest before they use their spells again, so they have a singular use before rest. Ciphers can keep using them as long as they're building up soul energy, or focus, I mean. Oh, I can go to Madmer Bridge now. It was on the map before, but I was unable to travel to it. Ah, Wicks. I believe I read Wicks already, because these are the Hollowborn children after they reach adolescence. When animancers used to try to cure Hollowborn children of their illness, they would... I guess I'm using the word insert souls. That's probably the wrong word. Souls of animals into the children. That seemed to work for a little while, but then eventually when they got into adolescence, they turned into these kind of decrepit creatures. That was like flesh hanging off them. They were dressed in tattered rags, and they were barely, if at all, human anymore. And these are Wicks. So let's go kill some children, I guess. Oh, there's a lot of them. Where was that spell that, like, rolled? I swear there was some kind of a spell. That, like, rolled through. Man, he's once again getting his butt kicked. They were all endurance there. Easy fight, but...
All right, then.
Here are the boots. So, this Fylvano's friend apparently got attacked by these wicks here. +1 Constitution. So again, the history of Fylvano. This pair of boots is said to have belonged to Fylvano, and the initials burned into the leather would seem to bear that out. Fylvano was very particular about his boots, for they had to endure a great deal of use, and they were constructed to be hardy as their wearer. I'm going to give that to Bjartur. Yeah. Give him some extra constitution. Sorry, guy. Spear Spiderlings. I believe we fought these guys in the Ingwithan ruins from the beginning of the game, so I'm just gonna go.
Leave it to me!
Spear Spider. These are the spiders that use their spear-like appendages to attack their foes.
Leave it to me!
Dead body over here. Just realizing how often when you run into beasts and monsters on the road, you also run into their victims. Ooh, a fine hunting bow. I'm gonna give that to a deer. I think he was using some kind of bow. I don't think I've been taking advantage. You know what? I'm not gonna do that because I need him as a defender. Look in here. I've still got quite a bit. A spare bedroll is laid out in this tent, but there's no other sign of Kith. Okay, this is a term for all of the intelligent races. It's probably the wrong word, but all Almawa, human, elf, dwarves, Orlans, godlike are referred to as Kith. Got a stag there. That's cool looking. This overturned cart bristles with crossbow bolts, bloodstains dark in the cracked wooden slats. Does that mean that something is here, or is that the bandits that did that? Some more wicks. So they tend to kind of swarm. They're weak individually, but yeah, quite a punch when there's a bunch of them. Oh, they must be vessels, because that did a Durance's holy radiance there did a number on them.
Of course.
And I know that they that holy radiance affects vessels. I'll have to look that up at some point. looks like everything. Alright, so I said I wanted to go to the Easternwood, or Esternwood, before we go back to Gilded Vale, so let's do that. Still looking pretty good health-wise. So this place doesn't look friendly. Wording symbols, as red and rough as scabs, have been carved into some of the trees. Wording symbols. Is it warning or is that magic? These carvings glisten with fresh sap. In other words, they are recent. East Redrick's Hills, west to Gilded Vale. Wording symbols. The trees here are dead. Including the ones with the wording symbols. I have a feeling of something ominous, that one. Wait. Something weird there, that's what it was. Skanebone. Skane is another god. The edgelord god. That little bit right there. Wait. Let's see if that kills those wicks right good. Vessel flesh.
All right, then.
So they are vessels, which is why that Holy Radiance does so much damage to them. I'm gonna read that.
What?
Holy Radiance creates a field of holy energy around the priest, burning any vessels in the vicinity and regenerating a modest amount of endurance for allies. The power of the priest's Holy Radiance is modified by how well his or her reputations align with the preferred behaviors of his or her faith. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if that means that Durance is as weak because he's...
Of course.
Keeps calling Magran the whore? I don't know. Maybe some kind of cemetery. Let's go down here first, and then I'll go up there. As if the world needed more celery. Skeleton. Also a vessel. So from the bestiary, skeletons no longer require flesh or essence, but their drive to kill has been instilled over many stages of progressive decay. As a result, they will attack anything, but they won't attempt to consume it. The essence that animates them is energy at its most basic level, having slowly lost any vestige of will, intelligence, or personality. If not killed, a skeleton may eventually grind itself into bone dust, or its essence may finally evaporate into ether. Skeletal savants are created from warriors, wizards, and other adventurous types. They are similar in overall properties to other skeletons, but they are more capable in combat and may retain basic abilities from their adventuring lives. So it seems like this is the final form of undead in this game. I mentioned earlier that undead kind of go from vampire to Darghoul to revenant and then finally to skeleton. So this is the final form there. All right, let's take them on. I'm liking that Holy Radiance. I don't remember using that before.
All right.
Dwarf skeleton, Almawa skeleton, and Orland skeleton.
Then.
Let's burn!
You're not getting through me. All right, then.
I think these... Yeah, these memorials, gravestones, are another Kickstarter backer reward if you backed a certain amount of money. So these are not lore necessary. We're going to skip those. Again, I like that they did those kinds of things, but there's a lot of them. We're definitely not going to be able to read them all, and they don't have anything to actually do with the world. They're kind of immersion breaking for a playthrough like this. Okay. So it's over here. Spiders.
You're not getting... So it doesn't look like we're going to get an answer as to what those warding symbols were. It's a graveyard. So I wonder if that kept the undead inside the graveyard or something. Maybe that's what it was. Alright, so the Esternwood is mapped. Going to... Oh, there we go. Now we have access to Radrick's Hold as well. Which is obviously where we need to go to defeat Radrick. I'm going to go to Gilded Vale, return the smith supplies, and then call it a day. Or call it a session anyway.
Well met, friend.
Tuatanu says, "Ah, you're back. Anything I can help you with?" Going to hand over the crate. Found that shipment you were waiting on. Tuatanu reaches out to take the crate, raising it effortlessly onto the counter. His face splits with a broad smile. "Why, so you have. This is excellent news. We can finally get back to work and show you the real Black Hammer quality. None of these flimsy little swords." A lot of experience for that. "Here, I'll give you a taste." He ducks behind the counter and rises with a heavy wooden shield in hand. Might not have had much in the way of materials to work with, but it's still Black Hammer craftsmanship. You go on and take it. Got a larder door. I believe that's a shield. "And here, some coin for your troubles." His pleased expression dims. "Did you find anyone with the wagon?" Bandits overtook the wagon. "I doubt your people survived." Tuatano shakes his head, running a hand along his bald pate. "Poor fools. Always told them they ought to hire some guards instead of palming the extra coin." He sighs. "I'll have to hire on more hands. Don't suppose you want to settle in Gilded Vale? Try some delivery work." He smiles thinly. "You have my thanks for your assistance, friend. Give me some time to work the forge, and you'll have your pick of the next run of weapons." So maybe head back over there in some time. After some time has passed. Wonder? No. Okay. All right. So that was a very productive session. We got to Anslog's Compass, did a bunch of quests there. We helped Ofra, but told her the truth that it wouldn't actually help her child. And we got hired by Kolsch to take care, by take care, I mean kill, Radric, who seems like a pretty horrible despot over these lands. He's the reason all those bodies are hanging on the trees and everything. All right, so thank you again, anybody that happens to be watching. Let me know if there's anything that you want me to address in any future sessions, or if you just kind of have any tips or have any other ways of looking at things that maybe I looked at wrongly, or have some extra insight into anything. But again, thank you for any kind of engagement with this, either whether just watching or commenting or whatever it is, and I will see you next session. Bye, everybody.